So when I looked at all the movies you've done, Mr. Foster, it's hard to like peg you down for a certain genre. So I guess my first question is, what do you look for in your next role when it's presented to you? What stands out to you as something you want to try and tackle?
Well, we're freelance, so whatever passes across my desk at the time, and it could be a filmmaker or a character or another actor involved or a story. So there isn't so much a conscious strategy. It's what moves me at the time.
Now, this type of project comes with its own, I don't know if baggage is the right word, a lot of extra steps in preparing for this type of role. It's never taken lightly by anybody who's tried to highlight or bring attention to the Holocaust or any of its survivors. Was there a process in you vetting this project, or were you all in based on just the story alone?
Well, it certainly helps when it's Barry Levinson. And he had given me my first film job when I was 17.
Yes, sir.
Called Liberty Heights, and we had wanted to work together since then, but it took a while. And we had one project that we almost did, and that fell apart. So when this came, it felt like an origin piece to his Baltimore series, and that in and of itself being a true story with filmmaker who has been telling versions of the Jewish American experience, it felt already vetted.
Well, there are some actors who do these type of projects and take it a certain step forward in terms of preparation. And then there's what you did for this role. Oh my God, I didn't recognize you at different points. So the physical transformation, that had to take a toll on you.
Yeah, well, there's also the reverse concept that if I didn't do the work, the self-flagellation that would have occurred would have taken a greater toll. I wouldn't have been able to face myself if I hadn't gone, if I hadn't tried to physically find something that was credible to the images that we've seen, to the documentary footage that we've seen. You have to believe that human is at a great deficit, particularly in the camps. In my opinion, if I had just dropped, we'll call it 10, 15 pounds, I wouldn't have been able to face myself. And considering that several members of our crew are children of survivors, and the people that are going to watch this film, they're survivors who are going to see this film, and they were there and they saw it. So, though it wasn't what I'd call a luxury, it was a gift, because I was able to make the choice. They didn't have the choice. They were starving to death. I was losing weight in order to find something that felt credible, and knowing that if I did that, it would inform the rest of the film, and I'd be able to carry that skeleton with me.
Did losing that weight allow you to kind of reach for something you may not have been able to if you, say, hadn't lost as much as you did?
Absolutely, but it's dangerous territory when actors talk about doing extreme things for their roles, where it often feels like in effect, or it becomes affected, because it's not in service of the story. It's just, look what I did. Isn't that crazy? It's going to be great for the press junket, rather than this is integral to telling the story. The story has to be told. The narrative is told through this man's body, and the violence that he that he put into people and also received, and carrying that trauma. So I suppose, like any, I think about an endurance athlete or a musician that's going to do another hour set. I wanted to personally see how far I could go and keep fighting. And in that process of pushing myself to those limits, you discover something, and hopefully that translates in the film.
Were your scenes with Billy the most draining in the film? Because there's some moments between you two that are very heavy, and we're putting it lightly, we'll just say.
Well, it's hard to pinpoint what's the most draining. There is a great pleasure in playing in those waters, in dangerous waters, in ambiguous ethical waters. There aren't easy answers within those scenes, particularly of right, wrong, judge, jury, and executioner. They were exciting because he's a wonderful actor, and so it's great to jam with people who are ready to play.
As part of your preparation, do you keep away from Billy before you shoot a particular moment, or are you guys able to interact? Or, I mean, because I gotta imagine, to channel those moments, there had to have been something that went into bringing that electricity, because you guys were sensational in those moments and really did a service just to the history and just emphasizing the tragic circumstances of these camps and what Henry went through.
Well, thank you. First of all, that's it's different every movie. It's different. It's a discovery process. How you're going to go in, what the character's asking for. For me, when I get on set, I'm at work in service of Harry. I think of it more as keeping it warm. Like, it's not that we can be polite about things, but there's not a lot of chit chat. And it keeps things a little bit more alive when the camera's rolling.
I just realized I called your character my son's name rather than the actual character's name. I apologize.
Oh.
Now,
how's your son?
I'm sorry, how's my son?
Yeah.
I have two sons. I have one that is 9 going on 30.
Yeah.
I have one that is 6 who will probably be some sort of daredevil doing stunts down the road, because he's already giving me what little hair I have left gray, because he seems to like to destroy things and jump off of things.
Mm-hmm.
Par for the course.
Yeah, that was this morning. We have a 5 and a 2-year-old, so it's all falling out here and going gray in here, and that's fine.
It is fine. I mean, it is part of it. I see we've connected in a way I did not anticipate. We did quite a pivot there from our children from talking about the Holocaust to our children now getting back to this project. Did you feel pressure covering the source material? Did the cast feel a sense of pressure because you had to do a service to almost showing the struggle that these people went through?
The word you used is one that I use often, which is service. And I get lost if I don't know what I'm in service of on a role. That's when I get nervous. This one was very easy to bow my head towards. I surrounded myself with people who were far smarter than I was, particularly people who spent a lifetime studying certain elements of the story, being a Yiddish expert to make sure that the dialect was accurate to the Belchatov Poland sound where Harry was from, and working with the Shoah Foundation for details to make it more credible, knowing that survivors of the camps are alive, and the children of those survivors, those traumas are passed down, and we wanted to tell it with all its moral ambiguity and heart that we could muster.
Was there a moment during the filming, during this film, that you felt a sense of gratification because you just knew, just taking a step back, that you guys were hitting it on all cylinders and you were doing it right? Because I have to imagine you have to feel a sense of pride in this project, because I've loved everything that you've done. You're such a great actor.
Thanks.
But this is probably my favorite thing you've ever done.
Well, thank you, Dewey. Definitely went to the joyful mat on it, and knowing that when you reach an edge in yourself, and maybe you find a little bit more space and a little bit more, and being able to push ourselves, particularly at covering 3 seasons of a man's life. The way that I like to work, I suppose, may not be it's not set. It's not, it has to feel alive in the moment. And Barry is such an incredible director in that way, where he supports do your homework and then play it like jazz. So I'd say that one of the more, I wouldn't say satisfying moments, but moments where it felt like we were in it. There's a particular scene in later in Harry's life where he's in the kitchen, and as written, his wife says, "You have to tell your son. You have to tell your son." And he says, "Why would I do that?" And so on and so forth. And he says, "Because you don't know the worst part of me." And as scripted, she's supposed to get up and give Harry a hug and comfort him and make it all better. And Barry didn't tell me, but he asked Vicky, "Let's see what happens if you don't hug Ben, if you don't hug Harry, if you don't give him that comfort." And from that, my wife is not giving me any kind of comfort, and started antagonizing Harry, where the story of killing his best friend in the camp unraveled, but it wasn't written and it wasn't planned. And it turned into this explosive moment where Harry ended up hitting orange juice all over the kitchen, but none of that was planned, talked about, and it felt like something happened, and it was caught on film, and it didn't feel overly thought. It felt deeply felt and kind of dangerous, and I'd say that was an indicator that we were all listening to each other.
And it's those organic moments, I imagine, as an artist, that you strive for in all your projects.
You set yourself up for failure and discovery every day. Hopefully, more discovery that turns everybody on, and it doesn't feel pat. It feels lived in. That's what we're after. These little sparks, these little moments.
Well, I hope you're ready for all the adulation that's going to come with this project, because it's coming. This is a sensational project, sensational cast. Love what you did here. It really just captures that essence of the tragic circumstances that happen in this community. And I'm just so grateful you gave me a few minutes of your time, and we were able to talk while our sons are probably destroying the living room as we speak.
Taking a nap right now.
I miss those days. I miss those days when he would take a nap, because he doesn't take a nap anymore.
I got a window, and this is it. So I'm happy to share it with you.
Well, this has been an honor. Thank you so much. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a good day, sir.
I appreciate it. Do we take good care?
Yes, sir. Bye.